If you feel like everyone else is ahead of you, like you missed some invisible starting gun, like 2025 came and went, and you're still standing in the same place you were a year ago, this isn't what you think it is. You're not late, you're not behind, and you're not stuck. What you're experiencing right now is something most people will never understand. Because while everyone else is sprinting forward, crossing off goals, chasing the next milestone, you've been held in place. Not by failure, not by lack of effort, but by something deeper, something intelligent. You see, the universe doesn't operate on human deadlines. It doesn't care about your January 1st resolutions or your 5-year plan. It operates on alignment. And right now, in this exact moment, you are being aligned. Think about it. How many times have you pushed harder, worked longer, tried more, right? Only to feel like you're running on a treadmill, like no matter how much energy you pour out, you stay in the same place. That's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because you're being recalibrated. The feeling of being late is actually one of the most profound signals the universe can send you. It means you're about to shift timelines. It means the old version of reality, the one where effort equals results, where hustle equals success, is dissolving. And a new timeline is forming around you. But here's what most people don't realize. You can't force your way into a new timeline. You can't hustle into alignment. You can't think your way into divine timing. You have to let yourself be moved. Right now, if you feel stuck, if you feel frozen, if you feel like life has paused, that's not stagnation. That's preparation. You're like a bow being pulled back. And the further back you're pulled, the more powerful the release will be. The universe is not punishing you with this pause, it's protecting you. Because if you had moved forward 6 months ago with the old energy, the old identity, the old frequency, you would have built something that doesn't match where you're going. And where you're going requires a different version of you, not a better version, not a fixed version, not a fixed version, a recalibrated version, one whose nervous system is tuned to receive what's coming, one whose identity matches the timeline you're entering. This is why everything feels so strange right now. Why the old strategies don't work. Why your motivation feels different. Why even your desires feel quieter. You're not losing yourself, you're updating. And here's the truth that will set you free. You're not entering 2026, you're being moved into it. There's a difference. Entering implies effort. Entering implies you have to push your way through a door. But being moved, that's surrender. That's trust. That's letting the current carry you exactly where you need to be. Your arrival is not delayed. It's perfectly timed. Everything that needed to fall away has fallen away. Everything that needed to slow down has slowed down. Everything that needed to pause has paused. Not because you failed, but because you're being positioned. And when you finally feel the shift, and you will feel it, you'll understand why the timing had to be exactly this. Why the pause was necessary. Why the silence was sacred. You're not behind, you're right on time. And 2026? It's not a year you're entering. It's a timeline you're already being moved into. Let yourself be moved. There's something happening inside you that no one else can see. No evidence on the outside. No visible proof. No metrics to measure it. But you feel it. A quiet shift. A subtle knowing. Like something deep within you has already moved, even though your external reality looks exactly the same. This is what I call quiet recognition. It's the moment when your internal world and your external world are no longer in sync. And that gap, that's not a problem. That's actually the birthplace of every major shift that's about to happen in your life. Most people panic when they feel this. They look around and think, why is nothing changing? I feel ready. I feel different. But my life looks exactly the same. And that panic makes them do one of two things. Either they force action to try to catch up their external reality to their internal shift, or they shut down completely, thinking the internal shift wasn't real. But here's the truth. Your internal readiness is real, more real than anything happening outside of you. Because everything you see in the physical world is just a reflection, a delayed echo of what's already happened in the quantum field. Think about it like this. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust that beneath the surface, roots are forming, structure is building, life is organizing itself. That's what's happening with you right now. You're not stagnant. You're germinating. Your internal world has already shifted. You've already become someone new. But your external reality hasn't caught up yet. And that's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because there's a sacred lag time between inner transformation and outer manifestation. This is the phase where most people lose faith because we've been trained to believe that if something is real, it should be visible. If you've changed, your life should look different immediately. But quantum shifts don't work that way. When you change at the identity level, when your frequency shifts, when your nervous system recalibrates, the external world has to reorganize itself around your new vibration. And that reorganization takes time, not because the universe is slow, but because it's precise. Every person, every opportunity, every circumstance in your external reality has to either match your new frequency or exit your field. And that process can't be rushed. So right now, if you feel this quiet recognition, if you feel internally different but externally the same, you're not imagining it. You're not delusional. You're not manifesting wrong. You're in the gap, and the gap is sacred. This is where trust is built. This is where faith becomes real. Not faith in some external force, but faith in your own internal compass. Faith that what you feel inside is more true than what you see outside. Because here's what happens when you honor the gap. Instead of panicking in it, the external world starts to move. Not because you forced it, but not because you pushed harder, but because you stopped interfering with the natural unfolding. You stopped trying to make your external reality match your internal shift. And when you stopped trying to make it happen, it started happening on its own. This is the paradox of transformation. The moment you stop needing evidence is the moment evidence starts appearing. The moment you stop demanding that your external reality validate your internal shift is the moment your external reality finally catches up. So if you're in the quiet recognition phase right now, if you feel ready, if you feel different, if you feel like you've already shifted but nothing around you reflects that yet, this is your sign. Don't panic. Don't force. Don't shut down. Just recognize what's happening. You're not stuck between two worlds. You're bridging them. And the bridge is almost complete. Your external reality is about to reorganize itself around who you've become. Trust the quiet. Trust the gap. Trust what you feel inside, even when the outside hasn't caught up yet. Because it will. Here's a belief you've been carrying that's keeping you stuck. The harder you work, the faster things will happen. More effort equals more results. More action equals more progress. More hustle equals more success. And for most of your life, that belief has worked, at least on some level. You worked hard in school. You got good grades. You put in extra hours at work. You got promoted. You pushed your body harder. You got stronger. Effort worked until it didn't. A point where no matter how much more effort you put in, nothing changed. You worked harder, but your results plateaued. You took more action, but you stayed in the same place. You hustled longer, but you just ended up exhausted. And that's when the confusion set in. Because if effort equals results, and you're putting in maximum effort, why isn't anything moving? Here's why. Because you've reached the level where effort-based reality stops working. Let me say that again. There is a level of transformation, a level of timeline shifting where effort actively blocks your progress. Not because effort is bad, not because hard work doesn't matter, but because the energy of effort carries with it an assumption, the assumption that you have to make it happen. And when you're shifting timelines, when you're moving into a reality that operates on alignment rather than action, the energy of making it happen creates resistance. Think about it. Every time you push, you're sending a signal to the universe that says, this isn't happening on its own, so I have to force it. And the universe responds to that signal by creating more situations where you have to push, where you have to force, where you have to effort your way through. It's not punishing you, it's matching your frequency. So here's what needs to happen. You need to gently release the belief that your effort is what's holding everything together. And I say gently because this is a vulnerable shift. Because for so long, your effort has been your identity. Your work ethic, your pride, the thing that makes you feel worthy, valuable, productive. Letting go of effort can feel like letting go of yourself. But here's the truth. You're not letting go of yourself. You're letting go of an outdated operating system. You're letting go of the version of you who had to prove their worth through action, who had to earn their results through struggle, who had to force their way into every room they wanted to enter. And you're updating into a version of you who receives, who allows, who trusts that the right things will come without you having to chase them down. This is what I call the identity update. And it's not just a mindset shift. It's a frequency shift. It's a recalibration of your entire nervous system. Because when you operate from effort, your nervous system is in constant activation, always alert, always ready to act, always scanning for the next thing you need to do to keep everything moving. But when you release effort-based reality, your nervous system gets to rest. And when your nervous system rests, your frequency rises. And when your frequency rises, you become a magnet for the exact things you were chasing before. The opportunities come to you. The people find you. The resources appear. Not because you stopped caring, not because you gave up, but because you stopped blocking the natural flow with your need to control it. So if you've been grinding, if you've been pushing, if you've been white-knuckling your way through life, this is your permission to stop. Not forever, not in all areas, but for now, just for this moment, just for this moment. Release the grip. Let yourself be carried instead of trying to swim upstream. Let yourself receive instead of constantly chasing. Let the new version of you emerge, the one who doesn't need to effort their way into everything, because that version of you, that's who's entering the new timeline. And they don't push their way in, they simply arrive. Let me tell you something that's going to shift your entire perspective on where you are right now. Time is not a straight line. I know that sounds abstract. I know your calendar says otherwise. I know your clock is ticking forward second by second, minute by minute, day by day. But the time you experience on the clock is not the same as the time you experience in your reality. Think about it. Have you ever had a week that felt like a month, or a month that felt like a week? Have you ever had a year where nothing happened? And then everything happened in the span of 2 weeks? That's because time in the quantum field doesn't move in a straight line. It moves in waves, in spirals, in expansions and contractions. And right now, if you feel like time has slowed down for you, if you feel like everyone else is moving forward, but you're suspended in place, that's not because you're stuck. It's because you're in a time compression phase. Let me explain what that means. When you're shifting timelines, when you're moving from one frequency to another, time has to recalibrate around you. The old timeline operates at one speed, one rhythm, one flow. But the new timeline you're entering, it operates at a completely different frequency. And in order to bridge those two timelines, there has to be a pause. A moment where time, as you've known it, stops making sense. This pause isn't wasted time. It's recalibration time. It's like when you're driving on a highway and you need to merge into a different lane. You can't just jerk the wheel and force your way over. You have to slow down, match the speed of the lane you're entering, and then merge smoothly. That's what's happening to you right now. You're slowing down so you can match the frequency of the timeline you're about to enter. And once you're matched, once you're aligned, time will speed up again, not just back to normal speed, but faster than it was before. This is what I call time compression, where months of progress happen in days, where years of transformation happen in weeks, where the results you've been waiting for suddenly cascade into your reality all at once. But here's the thing. Time compression can't happen if you're still operating at the old timeline's frequency. If you're still hustling, still forcing, still trying to make things happen on the old timeline's terms, you'll stay stuck in linear time. Linear time is effort-based. It's cause and effect. It's do this, get that. It's predictable, it's measurable, and it's slow. But quantum time? Quantum time is alignment-based. It's non-linear. It's become this, receive that. It's unpredictable. It's immeasurable. And it's fast. So when people ask, why is nothing happening for me? Why am I stuck while everyone else is moving forward? The answer is you're not stuck. You're just no longer operating in linear time. You've already shifted into quantum time. But because you're still measuring your progress with a linear clock, it looks like nothing is moving. But everything is moving, just not in a straight line. You're spiraling. You're looping back to heal old patterns. You're expanding into new versions of yourself. You're collapsing timelines that no longer serve you. You're magnetizing futures that haven't been visible yet. And all of that takes time. Not clock time, but quantum time. Here's how you know you're in quantum time. Nothing makes sense anymore. The old strategies don't work. The old timeline doesn't feel real. You can't force things the way you used to. And every time you try to make progress the old way, it feels like you're moving through mud. That's not resistance. That's recalibration. Your system is saying we're not operating on that frequency anymore. And until you let go of trying to measure your progress by linear time standards, you'll keep feeling like you're behind. But you're not behind. You're in a different kind of time now. We're in a different kind of time now. End it. And in quantum time, pause doesn't mean stuck. Pause means integration. Pause means your reality is reorganizing itself around your new frequency. Pause means you're about to experience time compression. So if you've been in a pause, if it feels like weeks or months have gone by and nothing has changed, I need you to understand something. You're not losing time, you're gaining it. Because when the compression comes, when the alignment clicks, when the new timeline fully activates, you'll move faster than you ever thought possible. Years of results in months, months of transformation in weeks, weeks of breakthroughs in days. That's quantum time, and you're already in it. Stop measuring your progress with a linear clock. Stop comparing your timeline to anyone else's. Stop thinking you're behind just because the outside world hasn't caught up to your internal shift yet. You're not behind, you're recalibrating. And recalibration is not wasted time. It's the most valuable time you'll ever spend because once it's complete, everything moves. And once it's visible, it can't stay locked. So what does this quantum block actually look like? It's subtle. It's not dramatic. You won't feel it like you feel fear or anxiety or sadness. It shows up as a quiet certainty that this is just how it is. A resignation that feels peaceful, almost Zen-like. A sense that you've accepted your reality when really, you've just stopped questioning it. It shows up as patterns that repeat no matter what you change. Relationships that follow the same script with different people. Jobs that feel different on the surface but give you the same experience. Goals that you get close to but never quite reach. It shows up as a feeling that you're doing everything right, but the results just don't match. That's the quantum block. And it's not your fault. You didn't create it consciously. It was coded into your field through a combination of ancestry, environment, past experiences, and the timeline you were born into. But here's the good news. You're not stuck with it. The fact that you're watching this video, the fact that you're feeling the resonance of what I'm saying right now, that's the signal that your quantum signature is ready to update. You're not here by accident. You're not watching this because you randomly clicked on a video. You're here because at the quantum level, your system has already started the dissolution process, and all you have to do is let it happen. You don't have to understand it fully. You don't have to figure out exactly what your quantum block is or where it came from or how to fix it. You just have to recognize that it exists. You just have to see that there's a layer of reality you've been operating on that's been invisible to you until now. And now that you see it, it's already dissolving. This is not about healing your trauma. This is not about fixing your mindset. This is not about raising your vibration or doing more shadow work. This is about recognizing that you've been operating on a frequency that was never meant to be permanent. And now you're updating. Not because you're broken, not because you failed, but because you're ready. And the quantum field responds to readiness faster than anything else. Now we're going to talk about the real reason you've been stuck. And I need you to listen carefully because this is not what you think it is. It's not your limiting beliefs. It's not your childhood trauma. It's not your fear of success or your fear of failure. It's not your self-worth issues or your attachment wounds or your subconscious programming. You've worked on all of that. You've healed. You've done the therapy, the shadow work, the inner child healing. You've cleared your blocks, shifted your mindset, raised your vibration, and still nothing moved. Why? Because there's a block that exists at a level most people never even know to look for. It's not psychological. It's not emotional. It's not even energetic in the way we usually think about energy. It's quantum, and it's hidden. Not because it's trying to hide from you, but because it operates at a frequency that's invisible to your conscious awareness. Let me explain. Everything in your reality operates on frequency. Your thoughts have a frequency. Your emotions have a frequency. Your beliefs have a frequency. And your identity, who you believe yourself to be, has a frequency. But here's what most people don't realize. Your identity frequency is not the deepest frequency you're operating on. Beneath your identity, beneath your beliefs, beneath your emotions, there's a quantum signature. Think of it like this. Your identity is the software. Your beliefs are the programs, your emotions are the code. But your quantum signature, that's the hardware. It's the operating system that everything else runs on. And if your quantum signature is coded for a specific timeline, a specific set of possibilities, a specific range of outcomes, then no matter what you do on the surface level, you'll keep looping back to the same reality. You can change your thoughts. You can heal your wounds. You can shift your energy. But if your quantum signature hasn't updated, you'll stay locked into the same timeline. This is the hidden quantum block. And here's why it's so hard to detect. It doesn't feel like a block. It doesn't feel like a block. It doesn't feel like fear or resistance or sabotage. It just feels like reality. Like this is just how things are for me. It feels like a fact, not a block, but it's not a fact. It's a frequency lock, and frequency locks can't be released through willpower or mindset work or emotional healing. They have to be dissolved at the quantum level. Now, before you panic and think, great, another thing I have to fix, stop. This is not something you fix. This is not something you clear. This is not something you heal. This is something you become aware of. And awareness at the quantum level is the dissolution. Let me say that again, because this is the key to everything. At the quantum level, awareness equals dissolution. You don't have to do anything to release a quantum block. You just have to see it. You just have to recognize that it's there. Because the moment you recognize it, the moment you become aware that you've been operating on a frequency lock, the lock starts to dissolve on its own. This is why so many people feel a shift just from watching videos like this. Not because the video gave them a technique or a tool or a step-by-step process, but because the video brought something into their awareness that was previously invisible. Here's something you need to understand about why the quantum shift hasn't fully landed yet. It's not because you're not ready mentally. It's not because you haven't done enough inner work. It's not because your vibration isn't high enough. It's because your nervous system doesn't feel safe yet. And until your nervous system feels safe, no amount of mindset work, manifestation techniques, or spiritual practice will create lasting change. Let me explain why. Your nervous system is the bridge between your quantum field and your physical reality. It's the translator, the interpreter, the gatekeeper. Every shift that happens at the quantum level has to pass through your nervous system before it can become real in your 3D experience. And your nervous system has one job: keep you alive, not happy, not abundant, not fulfilled, alive. So when a quantum shift tries to come through, when a new timeline tries to activate, when a new version of you tries to emerge, your nervous system runs a safety check. It asks, is this safe? Have we survived this before? Do we know how to navigate this? And if the answer is no, your nervous system blocks it, not consciously, not intentionally, but automatically, because its primary directive is survival, not transformation. This is why you can know something intellectually, believe it spiritually, feel it energetically, and still not experience it in your reality. Your nervous system hasn't given it permission yet. Think about it. How many times have you been right on the edge of a breakthrough, and then something inside you pulled back? How many times have you felt this shift coming, and then suddenly felt exhausted, foggy, unmotivated, or even physically sick? That's not self-sabotage. That's not resistance. That's your nervous system saying, this doesn't feel safe yet. And here's the thing most people get wrong. You can't logic your way past your nervous system. You can't affirmation your way past it. You can't even meditate your way past it, because your nervous system doesn't speak the language of the mind. It speaks the language of the body. It doesn't care what you think. It cares what you feel. Not emotionally, physically. Does your body feel safe? Does your body feel grounded? Does your body feel resourced enough to handle a new reality? If the answer is no, your nervous system will keep you in the old reality. Not to punish you, but to protect you. So here's what needs to happen. Your body needs to lead, and your mind needs to follow. Not the other way around. Most people try to drag their body into a new reality with their mind. They think, if I just believe hard enough, if I just visualize clearly enough, if I just raise my frequency high enough, my body will follow. But it doesn't work that way. Your body has to feel safe first. Your nervous system has to recognize the new reality as survivable. And only then will it allow the quantum shift to fully land. So how do you create nervous system safety? Not through effort, not through force, not through trying harder, through presence, through grounding, through letting your body know we're safe right here, right now. It's the small things, the breath, the pause, the moment where you stop rushing and just be. It's the walk where you're not trying to get anywhere, just moving your body. It's the moment where you put your hand on your chest and feel your heartbeat. It's the glass of water you drink slowly instead of gulping down. Your nervous system doesn't need big dramatic shifts to feel safe. It needs consistent, gentle signals that say, we're okay, we're here. We're not in danger. And when your nervous system starts to relax, when it starts to feel safe, that's when the quantum shifts start landing. Not because you made them happen, but because you stopped blocking them. This is why rest is so important right now. This is why slowing down feels so necessary. This is why your body is asking for softness, for ease, for gentleness. It's not because you're weak. It's not because you're lazy. It's because your nervous system is preparing to hold a completely new reality, and it needs to feel safe enough to do that. Like a tug. So if you've been pushing, if you've been forcing, if you've been trying to think your way into the new timeline, stop. Come back to your body. Come back to your breath. Come back to this moment. Let your body lead. Let your nervous system set the pace. Let yourself feel safe before you try to leap. Because here's the truth. The quantum shift is already here. The new timeline is already forming. The new version of you is already emerging. But it can only fully land when your body says, yes, I'm ready. I feel safe. And your body doesn't say yes through thinking. It says yes through feeling. So feel, breathe, ground, rest, and let your nervous system catch up to where your soul already is. Because when it does, everything moves. I'm about to completely flip your understanding of what a block actually means. Because what if I told you that the thing you think is blocking you is actually the signal that you're closer than you've ever been? What if the resistance you're feeling isn't a wall keeping you out, but a doorway you're about to walk through? Most people treat blocks like enemies, like obstacles that need to be removed, cleared, healed, or overcome. And so they spend years fighting their blocks, battling their resistance, trying to force their way past whatever's in the way. But here's what they don't realize. Blocks don't appear randomly. They don't show up to stop you. They show up because you're close. A block is a proximity signal. Think about it. When do you feel the most resistance? When you're far away from your goal, or when you're right on the edge of it? When you're scrolling through social media, procrastinating, avoiding, do you feel blocked? No. You feel numb, disconnected, comfortable in your avoidance. But when you sit down to actually do the thing, when you're about to take the leap, make the call, hit publish, have the conversation, that's when the block shows up. That's when the fear comes. That's when the doubt screams. That's when your nervous system says, are you sure about this? And most people interpret that as a sign to stop, a sign that they're not ready, a sign that something's wrong. But it's not a stop sign. It's a proximity alert. Your system is saying, this is real now. This is actually happening. Are you ready to cross the threshold? And that feeling, that tension, that resistance, that block is not your enemy. It's the doorway. Every major shift in your life has a threshold, a point of no return, a moment where the old version of you has to end so the new version can begin. And that threshold is always guarded. Not by some external force trying to keep you out, but by your own system making sure you're ready to step through. Because once you cross it, you can't go back. The old timeline closes, the old identity dissolves, the old reality becomes inaccessible. And your system wants to make sure you're certain, that you're committed, that you're not just dabbling or experimenting or half in. So it creates a block, a final test, a moment where you have to choose. And here's the beautiful part. The block isn't trying to stop you. It's trying to prepare you. It's saying, if you cross this threshold, everything changes. Are you ready? And the moment you recognize that, the moment you stop fighting the block and start seeing it as a signal, it dissolves. Not because you overcame it, not because you cleared it, but because you understood it. You understood that the block was never the problem. The block was the invitation. So if you're feeling blocked right now, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like there's something in your way, I need you to ask yourself this: what am I close to? What's right on the other side of this block that my system is preparing me for? What timeline is about to activate that's making my nervous system do a final safety check? Because I promise you, the block is not random. It's not a punishment. A punishment. It's not evidence that you're not ready or not worthy or not meant for this. It's evidence that you're right there, right on the edge, right at the threshold, and your system is just making sure you're ready to step through. So instead of fighting it, instead of trying to force your way past it, instead of spending more time clearing and healing and working on yourself, just see it. Just recognize it for what it is. A proximity signal, a doorway, an invitation. And the moment you see it that way, the moment you stop resisting the resistance, it opens. Not through effort, not through force, but through recognition. You don't overcome blocks, you walk through them. And the first step is realizing you're already standing at the door. So, what does it actually feel like when the quantum block releases? Because I know you're wondering, you're listening to all of this and thinking, okay, but how will I know? What's the sign? What am I supposed to feel? And here's the thing, it's not what you expect. It's not dramatic. It's not a lightning bolt moment. It's not a sudden surge of energy or clarity or motivation. In fact, it's so subtle that most people miss it completely. The release feels like nothing. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, it feels like the absence of something that was always there, but you didn't know it was there until it was gone. It's like when you've been clenching your jaw for hours without realizing it, and then suddenly you relax. And you feel this softness, this space, this ease you didn't even know you were missing. That's what the quantum release feels like. It feels like a quiet exhale, a softening, a letting go of a tension you didn't know you were holding. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with fanfare or confirmation or a clear this is it moment. It just happens. And you notice it later. You notice that something that used to bother you doesn't anymore. You notice that a thought pattern that used to loop doesn't loop anymore. You notice that a situation that used to trigger you just doesn't. And you didn't do anything to make it stop. You didn't work on it or clear it or heal it. It just dissolved on its own. That's the felt sense of release. It's not about seeing new things appear in your reality. It's about noticing what's no longer there, the heaviness that lifted, the urgency that faded, the pressure that released. And here's why this is so important to understand. If you're waiting for a big sign, if you're waiting for external proof, if you're waiting for your reality to shift before you believe the release happened, you'll miss it. Because the release happens first in your internal field, in your body, in your nervous system, in your frequency. And then over time, your external reality reorganizes itself to match. But the release itself, it's quiet, it's internal, it's felt, not seen. So how do you know it's happened? You stop asking if it's happened. You stop and you stop checking, you stop monitoring. You stop analyzing. Because when the block is gone, there's nothing to check for anymore. The question itself dissolves. It's like when you have a headache and you keep noticing it, tracking it, wondering when it will go away. And then hours later you realize, wait, when did that stop? I don't even remember when it went away. It just did. That's how quantum release works. You don't release by forcing it. You don't release by visualizing it. You don't release by trying to feel a certain way or create a certain outcome. You release by letting awareness do its work. And awareness doesn't work through effort. It works through presence, through simply being here, noticing what is without trying to change it or fix it or make it different. The moment you became aware of the quantum block, the moment you recognized it was there, the release process started. And it's been happening this entire time, quietly, subtly, in the background. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to meditate harder or journal more or say the right affirmation. You just have to let it unfold. And one day, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe in a month, you'll notice that something shifted. Not because you made it shift, but because it was always going to shift once you saw it. So don't wait for the big moment. Don't wait for the dramatic sign. Don't wait for your external reality to confirm that the release happened. Just notice the softening. Notice the ease. Notice the space where tension used to be. That's the release, and it's already happening. There's one last thing that needs to dissolve before the new timeline fully activates. And it's the hardest one, because it's been with you the longest. It's the urge to fix yourself, that constant low-level feeling that something about you needs to be improved, healed, upgraded, or changed before you can have what you want. The belief that you're not quite there yet you're close but not ready. That you need one more breakthrough, one more healing, one more shift before you're finally enough. This is the most persistent block of all because it disguises itself as growth, as self-improvement, as spiritual evolution. But it's not. It's resistance. And it keeps you locked in a loop where you're always becoming but never arriving, always healing but never healed, always growing but never grown, always on the path but never at the destination. And here's the truth you need to hear. Broken. You never were. There's nothing wrong with you that needs to be fixed. fixed. There's no missing piece that needs to be found.
Mm-hmm.
There's no final level you need to reach before you're allowed to receive what's yours. The new timeline isn't waiting for you to become someone else. It's waiting for you to stop trying to become someone else, because the version of you that enters the new timeline isn't the healed version or the upgraded version or the finally ready version. It's just you, as you are, right now, without the constant self-improvement project, without the endless inner work, without the need to prove that you've done enough to deserve what's coming. This is what I call non-interference trust. It's the ability to trust that you don't need to manage, control, or fix your own unfolding. It's the ability to let life move you instead of trying to move yourself. And it's terrifying because the fixing urge gives you something to do. It gives you a sense of control. It makes you feel productive, like you're working towards something. But what if you don't need to work toward it? What if it's already here, just waiting for you to stop interfering? What if the only thing standing between you and the new timeline is your belief that you need to do more to be ready for it? Think about it. How much time have you spent trying to fix yourself? How many courses, books, healers, modalities, techniques have you tried? And I'm not saying that work was wasted. I'm not saying it wasn't valuable. But at some point, the healing has to end. At some point, the becoming has to complete. At some point, you have to let yourself just be. Not because you finally reached perfection, but because perfection was never the point. The point was always just to realize that you were never broken in the first place. So if you're still in the loop, if you're still looking for the next thing to fix, the next layer to clear, the next breakthrough to have, I'm giving you permission to stop. Not because you're done, but because there was never anything to finish. You're not a project. You're not a work in progress. You're not incomplete. You're here. You're whole. You're ready. And the new timeline doesn't need you to be anything other than what you already are. So stop fixing. Stop improving. Stop trying to become. Just be and let the timeline activate around you, because it's not waiting for you to change. It's waiting for you to stop believing you need to. And now we come to the end, but not an ending like you're used to. Not a conclusion or a call to action or a now go do this moment. This is an ending that's actually a beginning, an arrival that's been happening the entire time you've been listening. Because here's what just occurred. You didn't just learn something. You didn't just receive information. You shifted. The quantum block that was invisible before, you saw it. And seeing it began the dissolution. The fixing urge that kept you in the loop, you recognized it. And recognizing it started the release. The timeline you thought you were trying to enter, you realize you're already being moved into it. Nothing is missing. Not one more healing. Not one more breakthrough. Not one more piece of information or technique or strategy. You have everything you need. You are everything you need. And 2026 isn't something you have to prepare for or work toward or become ready for. It's already here. You're already in it. You're already becoming it. The shift isn't coming. The shift is happening right now, in this moment. And all you have to do is let it. Not force it. Not chase it. Not prove you're ready for it. Just let it move you. Let the old timeline dissolve without clinging to it. Let the new identity emerge without trying to construct it. Let your reality reorganize itself without trying to control how or when. Because you're not in charge of the shift. You're not the one making it happen. You're the one it's happening to, and through, and as. And that's not a passive thing. That's not giving up or checking out or bypassing. That's the deepest trust there is. Trust that you don't need to manage your own transformation. Trust that the intelligence moving you is greater than your mind's need to understand it. Trust that the pause, the stillness, the quiet, it was all part of the plan. You were never behind. You were never behind. You were never stuck. You were never broken. You were always exactly where you needed to be. And now you're crossing the threshold. Not because you did everything right. Not because you finally figured it out, but because it's time. And time in the quantum field isn't measured by clocks or calendars. It's measured by readiness. It's measured by readiness, by alignment, by the quiet moment when your system says, yes, now. And that moment is now. So take a breath. Feel your body. Notice the space around you. You're not the same person who started watching this video. Something shifted, something dissolved, something completed. And you don't need to know exactly what it was or how it happened or what comes next. You just need to trust that it did. Because it did. Welcome to the new timeline. You're already here.